Here in Minnesota, they are desperate for a playoff win today in the American League Division Series. Our coverage on TBS is presented by BlackBerry. The Yankees took the opener 6-4. It's game 2 of a best-of-5 between the Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. The Yankees leading the series 1-0. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ernie Johnson, along with John Smoltz and Ron Darling. If you were going to write a caption for Game 2, it might be this: two teams looking for answers. There's no getting around the fact, Ron, that the Minnesota Twins have had it handed to them by the New York Yankees over the last 2 years. They've lost 15 of 17 and haven't beaten them in the playoffs in this park. How do you turn that around?
Well, where are their answers? Their answers are late in the game out of their bullpen. Last year in Game 2, Jose Majerus gave up a walk-off home run to Mark Teixeira, and last night the victim was Jesse Crain. They have been giving up the home run ball, not keeping the ball in the ballpark, and that has really hurt them. That's the second two-run home run that Jesse Crain gave up to Mark Teixeira this season, and it cost the Twins last night. But they have their most consistent start of the season. Carl Pavano, 17 wins and 7 complete games.
He's going to be opposed by Andy Pettitte of the New York Yankees. And Smoltzy, the answer that the Yankees are looking for is exactly how is Andy Pettitte? He's coming back from injury.
Well, never would you get a question mark about a historic guy with playoff numbers like he has, but really, are you going to get the guy that's had only 3 starts in the last 80 days? Or are you going to get the guy that has these kind of numbers in postseason? He's always been the right guy at the right moment, dominating stuff in the postseason, 18 wins. But when you pencil in a number 2 starter, they're not only concerned about how far can he go in this game, but how far can he carry him into a playoff run that they would like to say repeats themselves as a World Series champion.
In case you're wondering, folks, in baseball history in the postseason, it's happened 24 times that a team lost the first 2 games at home. Only once has that team gone on to win the series. Yankee fans will remember that. The 2001 version beat the Oakland A's. The first pitch is coming up. absolutely ideal again. Not a cloud in the sky. 71 degrees as we get set for Game 2 of this ALDS between the Yankees and the Twins. The fourth member of our crew, as you know, is Craig Sager, who is standing by. Craig.
Well, tired of this playoff losing streak to the Yankees, several Twins have veered from the norm. Manager Ron Gardenhire burned yesterday's uniform. He says he's wearing everything new from head to toe, which includes the throwback jerseys that pitcher Carl Pavano says will rewrite history. Jim Tomey and Nick Punto, they decided to have brunch with their wives instead of their usual pancake breakfast. And Denard Span, well, he chewed on a New York strip as opposed to his chicken Alfredo. But perhaps best of all, the Orlando Hudson family, all 4 generations, held a prayer vigil seeking divine intervention from the baseball gods. Several changes as we begin the game. The Twins can only hope to have a change at the end. EJ.
All right, thank you very much, Craig. And we talked about that in the open, guys, the fact that when you look at some of these numbers, it can get downright depressing if you're a fan of the Minnesota Twins. They've lost 10 in a row in the postseason, 9 straight at home, haven't won a game in front of the home folks in the postseason since 2002.
My advice is get a few runners on base in front of Michael Kadire. That would really help the cause.
Well, this is a big psychological thing that they're dealing with in Minnesota. You got to have a couple guys that keep you loose. Couple veteran players. Orlando Hudson might be one of those guys. Kadire, you've got to find a way to get away from what has been the norm, and that's been a bad set of circumstances that's led you to this position. So it's a psychological advantage that really New York holds that Minnesota's got to find a way to change.
Ron Gardenhire talking about the fact it was just a disappointing loss last night in the wake of that because of you look at all the opportunities they had in that game. Left the bases loaded in the 6th inning after scoring and to tie the game, and then had base runners but could not come up with a big hit. It was the Yankees who got the big hit in Game 1.
And it's the Yankees who always seem to get the big hit when they face the Minnesota Twins. How do you change that? I think part of it, there's no jinx here. There's frustration of the Twins, and when you're frustrated sometimes, you try to do too much.
The Minnesota Twins taking the field here at Target Field, and we take a look at the lineup from Joe Girardi. And the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter again hitting leadoff. Curtis Granderson moves into the 2-hole today. Mark Teixeira with the 2-run bomb last night, which was the difference, hits third. A-Rod hits cleanup. Then it's Robinson Cano. Nick Swisher plays right field. Jorge Posada had a couple of hits last night. Lance Berkman is the DH tonight. And Brett Gardner bats ninth and plays left field, and they face Carl Pavano.
Carl Pavano has had a great year. He's an innings eater this year for the Minnesota Twins. He's really helped out the bullpen. He relies on movement, and movement. He's a contact pitcher, doesn't walk many, doesn't strike out a whole lot. He's going to have his hands full with the left-handers in the New York Yankee lineup. Left-handers having a pretty good advantage, hitting 292 off of Carl Pavano. But look for him, Ron, to try to pitch that not perfect game, but a game where he relies on making all his pitches count.
He's got to keep the ball down on the knees, and he has the ability to throw any pitch at any time. Well, defensively for the Twins behind Pavano, no changes. Duncan Young in left field, Denard Span in center, Jason Kubel in right field. Denny Valencia looked good on that walk last night. J.J. Hardy, Orlando Hudson, and Michael Kadire at first place. And, of course, Joe Mauer, the 2 Gold Gloves behind the plate. Kadire, of course, at first base because of Justin Morneau, who's been out for over 3 months with his concussion.
Carl Pavano won 30 games over 2 seasons with the Florida Marlins. Signed a big contract with the New York Yankees and only pitched 26 games for him over a 4-year span. Had a lot of injuries, including Tommy John surgery. And he faces them tonight in Game 2 of the ALDS. Derek Jeter steps in. Jeter was 1 for 5 last night with a strikeout. Pavano's a big guy, 6'5", 250, 34 years old. And here's the first pitch. Swinging at the first pitch is Jeter. And Denny Valencia threw him out.
Derek Jeter, 2 seeds last night for outs, and here hitting this ball sharply to the rookie Valencia. ready, willing, and able.
Well, here's Curtis Granderson. Batting down in the lineup last night against the left-hander Liriano, moves up to the 2-hole. Had one of the biggest hits of the night. 2-run triple off the wall in that 4-run sixth. He takes a strike.
You're talking about getting those big hits. Granderson 0 for his last 16 to Liriano before that triple.
Toronto jumps ahead 0-2. Going to be another packed house here at Target Field today. Obviously a lot of people getting off of work and getting here, but there will not be a place to be found in this great new stadium. Had better than 42,000, a record for Target Field in Game 1. Missed on the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
What's pretty interesting about Carl Pavano is he's got 3 different fastballs, a cutter, a 4-seamer, and a 2-seamer, all around the same miles per hour. You rarely see that with 3 different type movements.
Didn't mean to, got it past Pavano. Hardy got it.
Well, nice sequence of pitches. A backdoor curveball that did not work, slider, and then the changeup off the end of the bat. Nice play by J.J. Hardy.
The expected greeting for Mark Teixeira after last night's tie-breaking 2-run homer. And he takes a strike from Pavano. That's down low. You know, Mark Teixeira has been bothered. We've talked about the broken toe, but of more concern, it's been the right thumb. In fact, he had a cortisone shot in mid-September. Says it really bothers him when he swings and misses, so he's trying not to swing and miss. And he didn't last night in the 7th.
Well, the thing about Teixeira, he has said that he has not been getting a quantity of hits, but it seems like every hit he's gotten against the Twins in the postseason has definitely been quality.
Came up empty there at 92 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
When you watch this game, Carl Pavano is just right in line with all the other Minnesota Twins. They get ahead of you. Almost 70% of the time he's throwing strike 1. They don't walk many guys. Pitch to that strike zone.
Got him looking. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom half of the 1st. Half of the first inning, and here's a look at their batting order. If you watched last night, it's the same as tonight. Denard Span, followed by Orlando Hudson, then Joe Mauer. Delman Young in the cleanup spot. Jim Thome, the DH. Michael Kadire, followed by Jason Kubel, who is trying to break out of a postseason funk. Danny Valencia at third, and J.J. Hardy hits ninth at short. And all eyes on Andy Pettitte.
Absolutely. A lot of people are going to be wondering what they're going to get, and the Minnesota Twins are hoping that stare over the glove and his location don't match up. But you look at his numbers for the year, pretty darn good. Hard to believe, 41st playoff start. Pretty impressive.
Denard Span stands in, takes one tight, 1-0.
It'll be interesting coming off the groin pull that shelved Pettitte for a long time, the hamstring problem, if they might try to do some bunts against Pettitte, make him move around the infield.
Alex Rodriguez in a couple of steps at third as Span takes a strike, 1-1.
And talking to Andy, he made two really good adjustments in his bullpens. He felt like the 3 starts, he had its streaks where things were going good. He just couldn't make enough in-game adjustments to feel comfortable. That's the lack of having 3 starts in the last 80 days.
Took a little off and missed, 2-1. John, what is the thing, as you watch Andy Pettitte today, what are you looking for, number one, to see which Andy Pettitte is this?
Well, it's going to come down to command. And the ability, he's not going to be nervous, he's not going to be rattled. This is his time of the year. It's going to come down to command. And he said it, you know, when you're away from the game and you're coming back from an injury, you can have all the bullpen sessions you want. But when you get in the game, you got to feel like he's answering one question himself. Look, my mind feels like it's going to do it. I know I can do it. Can my body repeat the things I need to repeat? It's rhythm. Everything in pitching is rhythm. He's got the stare. He's got the moment. Can he repeat his pitches?
The count is 2-2 to Span, the Minnesota leadoff hitter. 249 postseason innings on the resume of Andy Pettitte. Record of 18-9 in 40 starts. And there is that trademark stare as he prepares to deliver a 2-2.
You know, the other thing, Ernie, what it is the pitcher only knows what he's going through. His job's to fake it. If he doesn't have it, fake it as long as he can. Resumes mean something. Jersey names mean something. You don't want to show the other team you have a crack in the armor. And right now, you know, a pitcher stands on the mound, as you've done it before, Ron. You know what you're dealing with. You just got to fake it, even if it's not right.
You can get outs on reputation alone.
Span spoils another one. So you guys are telling me that when you come out of the bullpen and you take the mound and you know you don't have your best stuff, you're still going to act like you do.
My first 5 years I didn't fake it well at all. I had the emotion written all over me. Hey, I'm struggling, and here it comes. I learned that a long time ago.
Usually you have a strut, Ernie. You go for strut and a half when you don't have your good stuff.
Denard Span steps back in and waits on another 2-2 from Andy Pettitte. You know, we talked about that limestone back there. You've got a great example. That ball is fouled back and went all the way back to Pettitte at the mound. That's one of the features of this ballpark. You see a lot of it on the exterior of the park and at different places on the interior. And that's from about 80 miles from here in Mankato, Minnesota. It's Kasota Stone.
I'm shaking my head because where was that in my wild days?
3 balls and 2 strikes. Span making him work here as he leads off the bottom of the first. That ball is hit right up the middle. And Span has a leadoff single.
Yankees have the same defense as last night, just a different DH, Lance Berkman, Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher in the outfield. Of course, A-Rod, Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano, and Teixeira. Gold everywhere. And Jorge Posada behind the plate, five-time All-Star.
Team made the fewest errors in the big leagues in 2010. Here's the switch hitter, Orlando Hudson.
Andy may argue with me, but he's got the greatest balk move in the history of the game, so it's going to be interesting to see what Minnesota does, because he can silence a running game.
Span, the runner at first, led him with 26 stolen bases.
Very interesting, right? A little change in the game plan already. Not bunting with Orlando Hudson here in the first inning, trying to scratch out a run. Trying to play a little bigger ball as Ron Gardenhire this evening.
That was the plan of attack last night in the first, when Span also led off the game on the Minnesota side with a single. That's right back to Pettit. Got the out at second, and they turn the double play. What a turn by Derek Jeter. He had to go up, come down, and make that pivot, and they got the double play.
Well, Andy sidearm throws the ball high to Jeter. He steps on that base with his left foot, and throwing off the wrong foot, might have gotten spiked, but got that throw away.
(1-6-3) if you're scoring at home, and well, I tell you, that was an athletic play by Jeter at short. Here's Joe Mauer.
What's great about this play, see, steps on the bag and doesn't even get a chance to really get anything behind the throw, but makes an accurate throw and able to get Hudson. Just not many shortstops are that athletic to be able to make that play.
Mauer takes a strike. He was 1 for 5 in the opener, struck out a couple of times, which is rare for a guy who's number 5 in the American League in the toughest to fan category. And he strikes him out to end the first. Twins get a base hit, but can't do anything with it. We go to the second. Brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Top half of the second inning. Yankees went in order in the first, and here's Alex Rodriguez to face Carl Pavano in the second. Hit hard, right edge. J.J. Hardy, who guns him down. One away. Jeter swung at the first pitch in the first. A-Rod hacking at the first pitch here in the second.
Well, they know he's going to throw strikes, John. He has proved that throughout his career.
I always liked it when a team would convey their strategy early. They have done that. They basically said, we're going to come out and we're going to try to take advantage of primarily a fastball.
Robinson Cano takes a strike. He was 1 for 4 in the opener, knocked in a run, scored a run. Minnesota led that opener 3-0. Yankees hit him with a 4 spot in the 6th. The game was 4-4 in the 7th when Teixeira went deep. And the 2-run shot that settled it. And with that, the Minnesota Twins had their 9th straight home loss in the postseason. That's 1 shy of the record held by the Phillies.
Well, think about it this way. The first time they saw Pavano in the postseason, the Yankees, in 2003, he was pitching for the Marlins. He threw an 8-inning, 1-run game, and the next season they signed him for that big contract. So his performance in the postseason got him to be a Yankee originally.
He's ahead 1-2 against Cano. That ball's hit to straightaway center field. Denard Span is back on the track and makes the play.
Well, ball middle from Pavano, and Cano jumps all over it. Doesn't get it up in the air, though, so a chance for Denard Span, who covers a lot of ground. Didn't pick it up in the sunlight here at 5:30. But finally, with that great speed, able to catch up, soften that jump against the fence.
So Pavano has set down the first 5 he's faced, and here's Nick Swisher. Pavano has said, with a 1-0 deficit in this series, that he was hearkening back to the experience he's had in the postseason. He was pitching for Florida as Swisher lines one to center, and Span cannot cut it off. Swisher at second, and he'll hold right there.
Well, one of the things when you're playing center field, one of the toughest balls to go after, the ones hit right at you. But Swisher hits this ball so firmly that it has to, that's almost like a draw in golf. As the ball started right at Span, moved away from him, he took the wrong angle, and the ball got by him.
Now, don't make the golf reference. You're going to get Smoltzy started.
There you go.
Time's our time tomorrow.
So a runner at second with 2 down. That's the first hit off Pavano. I was saying that he's looking back at his playoff experience with Florida. When they were down in the series against Chicago, we gave them a solid start. Same deal in the World Series that year against the Yankees, when they were behind in the series, and he pitched 8 solid innings in a game that the Marlins won. So the first scoring opportunity of this game belongs to the Yankees. Runner at second, 2 out.
Well, facing this lineup, and I mean this with the ultimate respect, it's like kind of pitching at Coors Field. You can do it for a while, but sooner or later, it's going to get you. And, you know, Pavano and the Minnesota Twins have to try to navigate this, as I call it, 1 run at a time. Avoid the crooked inning. Avoid the 4-run inning, because this lineup is just too good over 9 innings.
Posada's hit last night in the 6th inning in the course of that 4-run inning It came with 2 outs, and it preceded the triple by Granderson. As he lined a single to right field, that kept the inning going, knocked in a run, and then came the big shot by Granderson.
Well, he had the best approach right-handed against Liriano last night with a couple of base hits to right field.
Grounded to Hardy. The Yankees get a runner in scoring position, but can't take advantage. We go bottom 2. Bag presented by BlackBerry. Tonight's question coming from Ron D. in Booth, Minnesota. Hey, John S., how come you didn't pitch the 10th inning in Game 7 of the 91 World Series here in Minnesota?
That is a good question. I think there was an age requirement. You had to get, Jack Morris made that very difficult, and then, of course, my manager had some say in that.
Well, of course he did. Booth, Minnesota, by the way, is right here. It's centrally located.
Basically a fictional location. There is Jack Morris. That was an unbelievable matchup between these teams, the Atlanta Braves of John Smoltz and Minnesota Twins. And there for the Twins of 2010 is Damon Young, leading off the second with a single. So they have the leadoff hitter on in each of the first 2 frames.
I asked Andy Pettit yesterday what guy in this lineup gives you the most problems, and it was universally this guy. He's hitting .579 going into the game.
That's right, 12 for 22 now, Delman Young. And you would know why. Delman Young likes the ball middle of the plate in. That's where Andy spends most of his time.
On the flip side, though, Andy has controlled the left-handed batters. 186 hitting against him.
Here's Jim Thome. Breaking pitch missed, 1-0.
And another number that's pretty staggering. If he gets the hitter 0-2, Ron, 087. He likes to go to that cutter and that curveball that you're seeing against left-handers, but that'll be the sign on whether or not Andy is back to form. Is that cutter that he's perfected so much, how good is he able to command that pitch which has made him awfully tough this time of the year.
I think for Andy right now it's early in the game. It's only the second inning. But he hasn't really thrown one fastball on the knees. Everything has been up in the strike zone.
Tomey, a blooper. And they're at first and second. Tomey was 0 for 3 last night. Was hit by a pitch by CC Sabathia, which he was showing off in the clubhouse today. That left a mark, and this one didn't get all of it, but got enough.
Yeah, you could see Andy's reaction. He tried to get it in there, and the ball came back over the middle of the plate. And he was able to get enough of it over Jeter's head.
So runners at first and second for Michael Kadire. Kadire with some pretty stout postseason numbers. 373, 25 out of 67 in his career. Went 2 out of 4 last night with a homer and a double. That home run got Minnesota on the board last night.
Well, they got to a 2-0 count on CC Sabathia. Got the fastball he wanted. And they say that the ball has been carrying better here in this October warm weather.
The 1-1 from Pettit to Kadire.
EJ, you were mentioning his postseason hits from Michael Kadire. Only 2 Minnesota Twins are ahead of him now in postseason hits. The great Kirby Puckett and Dan Gladden.
Trying to add to that total here against Pettit, and he takes inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He's making his 15th Game 2 start, which is hard to believe in itself. But rarely has a pitcher, he's a handful of pitchers, pitched less than 20 innings in the second half to start a playoff game. That's why there's so much, what are you going to get? How's he going to do?
Tapped up toward third. Rodriguez. Good on. 1 down. The runners move up.
Well, you're not trying to make a productive out here, but it turns into one. Hit very slowly to A-Rod, who's outstanding at third base. That strong arm. And interesting enough, really that bright sunshine right into Teixeira's face made that play a little harder.
Now, as well as Kadire has performed in the postseason, Jason Kubel has struggled. 2 out of 23 in his career. He was 0 for 2 last night with a couple of walks.
And he must make contact. Get on the board. They're giving you second base. They're giving you the right field side of the plate. Get your team on board. Make contact.
But in his postseason career, EJ, he does not make contact.
11 strikeouts in those 23 at-bats. But he's ahead in the count, 2-0. Strikes.
With the base open and he's not pressured having to pitch or come into this guy right here. He can set up the double play with 1 out. That's why everything's been away, trying to see if he could get him to swing aggressively outside the zone, and he hasn't yet. Good patience at the plate.
They're loaded here in the second. Valencia drew a bases loaded walk in game 1 to tie the score at 4. Swisher positions himself, makes the catch. Gilman Young will score as the throw went to third.
Well, the youngster has really come through. You mentioned the walk with the bases loaded. He had a base hit later after striking out his first 2 bats last night, and now with this sacrifice fly to right field.
So as in game 1, Minnesota breaks out front in game 2. And with 2 out, it's the number 9 man, J.J. Hardy.
Minnesota has had the lead in the last 7 losses to the Yanks in the postseason. Can they turn it around?
Hardy fouled off the breaking pitch, and he's behind 0-2. Talked about the opportunities Minnesota had last night. Hardy struck out with the bases loaded as they left him full in the 6th. He bats here with runners at first and second.
And if Andy Pettitte gets out of this situation, it just tells you this is how a guy wins in the postseason. He doesn't bends but doesn't break. Close pitch there from Pettitte.
Yeah, Andy took a couple of steps toward the dugout. It's 1-2. Posada kept it in front. The count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's that backdoor cutter that he's trying to get a late break to freeze the right-hander, and then he follows it up with a harder breaking slider, trying to make the hitter look like it's the same pitch to go after. Didn't get the call, and the hitter didn't swing at the previous pitch.
Towards second. Easy play for Robinson Cano. But the Twins are on the board. We head to the 3rd. TBS is presented by BlackBerry. And we move to the top half of the third. Lance Berkman, the designated hitter tonight. It was Marcus Timms in the opener against the left-hander Liriano.
What a luxury the Yankees have to be able to bring a Lance Berkman off the bench and DH.
And bat him eighth. That's how tough their lineup is. One of the most dangerous National League hitters, switch hitters for a long time. 6 home runs in the postseason, 26 RBIs, 321 batting average.
This is his first at bat in the postseason in 5 years. It's his days with the Astros, and you know they got him before the trade deadline, and he really struggled early, and then got hurt.
You know, I asked him how's it been because he's used to playing every day. How's your timing? He said he's really struggled this year right-handed, so they're primarily using him as a left-handed hitter, obviously in this case. But he feels like he's made some adjustments, getting comfortable. He's healthy, and he's ready to help.
Only hit 1 home run for the Yankees in his 37 games. He hit for a better average after he came back from the ankle injury, but wasn't driving in many runs. He said, I'd much rather hit 250 and be more productive getting people in than to hit 300.
Well, it's one of those weird situations. He played his whole career in Houston. He's used to the environment. They went to the playoffs. He comes here. You want to be part of a team. You want to contribute, and it's a different role. And obviously Houston wasn't going to the playoffs this year, but he's now helping the Yankees, and he feels good.
His last few seasons, though, he's been really slowed by injuries, and I think that is why his production has gone down. Plus, stuck with a team that was mired in last place, not playing well, and wanted to have a share of glory again in the postseason.
He hits the 1-2 from Pavano to first. Gets over there and makes the play for the first out. Let's check in again with Craig Sager.
Well, since coming off the disabled list, Andy Pettit says he has not been able to get into a flow. He's not had his rhythm. When he came off the mound after the bottom of the second inning, pitching coach Dave Eiland grabbed him. They went back behind the dugout and are looking at video. He said he had problems with his release point. Perhaps the two of them are looking for something in the mechanics that can change that in a hurry. Jay?
All right, thank you, Segs. For the guy at home, how do you explain exactly what's going on there in that situation when you would look at video between innings?
Well, I think that some of it can be paralysis by analysis. You have to really watch how much you can apply to what you're doing out there. I've always thought that you do all your work on the side in between starts, and then when you get on that mound, you just compete, and you figure out somehow, some way to do it. Now, a glaring mechanical problem you'll be able to fix. A little tweaking, I think, is very hard within games.
Well, you're looking for one simple thing, you know. I can't tap my head and rub my belly at the same time, so you just give them one thing. You don't look for 3 things. And if you can get that one thing, you can translate it out to the mound. Actually, I can. I used it for a illustration.
Yeah, very well done. Ball at 2 strikes to Brett Gardner. He bats with 1 down, nobody on, top half of the third. Game 2 of the ALDS. Second strikeout for Carl Pavano. And we go back to the top of the order and Derek Jeter.
John, did you ever buy into this? Leadoff hitter makes an out on the first pitch. His second at bat, there's no way he's swinging at the first pitch.
I bought into every theory you could buy into for a while, and then you just try to play that familiarity game. Absolutely. No way he's swinging here. Whoops. But more times out of not, Ron, you're right. Yeah. I mean, those are the things that you can play off of. It's what the hitter gives you sometimes you can use.
Hitters hate to make 2 outs on 2 pitches.
Jeter took a strike and waits on an 0-1. Sitting here with 2 pitchers in this booth, and they both wanted that one.
Well, he set up, and he caught it away, but he still caught it over the middle of the strike zone.
what's interesting with Pavano, John, you watch him on that changeup. Very natural for him to throw it to the left-handers outside, but to try to pull it to the outside corner from right-handers, a little more difficult.
If there's one thing that's changed in the game, more pitchers are throwing changeups to the same side hitters than ever before. Righties to righties, lefties to lefties.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Carl Pavano, much maligned because of that big contract, inability to get on the field, only 26 starts and 9 wins in 4 years. Asked what was his highlight, he said, well, I started opening day in 2007. That wasn't bad, but that was it.
Third strikeout. Got him with the change. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd.
.com/TBS Hot Corner to watch live video companion coverage of every MLB postseason game. Those are the geraniums out there in the outfield. Ring the wall. Denard Span takes 0-1 at 73 miles an hour. Denard is his middle name. Keontae is his given first name. That ball is popped up shallow left. Brett Gardner makes the play, 1 down. You would consider just going middle names, would you?
I got a kind of a funky middle name. I don't think I'd go with mine.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, you go to Maurice.
Maurice is not my favorite.
Andrew.
Come on now.
This is when I asked Denard the other day, and I said, how do you pronounce your first name? So you go by your middle. Yeah. He said, what's your middle? Thorwald. See, some guys can carry it.
Wow.
I think somebody can carry Denard as this ball is hit down the right side. Long run for Nick Swisher, and what a play. He had a long way to go and a short time to get there, and Swisher made the play, sliding across the right field line.
You know, he's had a bum knee this last month, and watch Swisher with a great hustle. And in these new ballparks where they are fan-friendly and don't have a lot of room in foul territory, this is the way you have to go about your business. Slide in there and make the catch. That way you won't hurt yourself going over the barrier.
Put a blue star down in my scorebook for that one. Great play by Swisher. Quickly 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Thing about Swisher, too, when he had that left knee inflammation, he said the thing that bothered him the most was straight line running. Side to side wasn't bad, hitting wasn't bad, and that was some straight line running right there to make that play right along the line. Joe Mauer struck out his first time. 3 times in this series. He's 1 out of 6. Bounce to second. That is a very easy inning for Andy Pettit. Must have been some video he saw. By fresh and delicious avocados. And the big hit last night, there were several, but this one was really big. Curtis Granderson with the 2-run triple off the wall as part of that 4-run 6th inning for the Yankees. He leads it off here in the 4th. Interesting thing about that, too, was what we heard today from Ron Gardenhire, as he said, you know, Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, thought hey, that's great. That ball went farther than anybody thought it was going to. Rick Anderson said, good pitch, and walked away. Thought, okay, good, you're out of the inning.
Yeah, as soon as he made contact, it was such a towering shot that the pitching coach, Rick Anderson, like you said,
that ball is belted off the wall and right. There is no doubt about that. A leadoff double for Granderson here in the fourth. But go ahead, Ron.
Well, the thing about Granderson is that when that ball got in the air, the pitcher coach Rick Anderson thought that ball never travels in this part of the park. But the way that Granderson is hitting right now, he is hitting everything on the screws. He was hitting 240 in mid-August. He changed some things with hitting coach Kevin Long. He kept the hand on the bat longer instead of letting it go, using his legs more. And since then, he's been outstanding.
All it took in August was Kevin Long asking Joe Girardi, give him to me for a couple of days. Don't play him. Let me work with him. And man, did that work. Here's Teixeira. And there's a bullet to left. That'll fall in front of Young. Granderson had to hold up on the line drive, but advances to the third. So they're on the corners. Nobody out for the Yankees here in the fourth.
Again, the angst for the Minnesota Twins. One dugout worrying about holding the lead. The other dugout, like the Muro cigar, John, sooner or later, they're going to get you.
Yeah, this team hits not only infectious, it's momentum. They all feed off of each other, and they look for the big inning. They're not panicking at any time. Even if they make 5 straight innings worth of outs, they know they're going to score some runs.
And it gets tougher. First and third for Alex Rodriguez. Swinging at the first pitch to right. Kubel makes the catch. Granderson the tag. Tie game.
Now, if you're Pavano, that's not the worst thing that could have happened. You know, you kind of dull the rally a little bit. You want to get out of that situation with only giving up 1 run. You still can. Fly ball scores the run. You got a runner on first. You're a pitch away. Since they're so aggressive right now, you're a pitch away from a double play.
You know, but that's been the real big difference in the last 6 postseason games. The Yankees have 17 RBIs in their 3, 4, 5 slot. The Twins 3. So that has been the big difference. The big hitters, their best hitters, have come through more often than the Minnesota's best hitters.
And John, back to what you said too. I think the key, as you described, that was 2 words: no panic. You never saw panic in that dugout last night when they were down, as Cano swings at the first pitch. And then they chipped away and then got the big hits. Posada with the hit, and then Granderson, and then it's Granderson tonight who gets this rally started in the fourth.
That's the 3rd consecutive hitter to swing at the first pitch. They have tipped their hand. These Yankees, that in their hitting DNA is to take many pitches, can't do it against Pavano.
Teixeira at first, and that ball is hit right on the screws to right over the head of Kubel. Teixeira around second, and they're at first and third. Boy, they have hit some shots off Pavano.
Well, I think this is a good time for Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, to go out there. Now, John, I think Pavano's got to kind of make an adjustment. He can't keep throwing that low sinker every pitch on a first pitch. Mix in some breaking balls early.
Well, the key here, you know, is you look like a backdoor cutter that's not getting to the back door. It's actually over the middle of the plate. The key here, when you're getting quick pitch outs, no big deal. Now, you do have to change your plan. And you do have to make sure that they start swinging at pitches out of the zone and not the ones that are over the middle of the plate. I mean, that's what every pitcher wants. You want the guy swinging. And if you make great quality pitches, you're going to get the quick outs.
In the postseason, Pavano in 18 1/3 innings against the Yankees has not walked a batter. You know the Yankee hitters know that also, and they are jumping on his pitches early and often.
So the Yankees trying to keep it going here in the fourth. They have tied the game at 1. And with 1 down and runners at first and third, here is Nick Swisher, who doubled his first time. Takes a strike.
Started him off with a changeup. Nick thought that pitch was down, got the benefit of the call. Could help frame the at-bat. You know, could maybe even try to cheat a little more out of the zone.
Right back where it came from. He's going to try to go to 3 for the double play, and does. Mauro Pavano fielding his possession well. Threw it right to the bag. And a 1-6-3 double play to end the inning. We're tied. Television's last most anticipated event. Conan premieres November 8th, 11 o'clock, 10 Central, only on TBS. Delman Young, in what is now a tie game, leads off in the 4th and takes a strike.
I was anticipating you reading that. Highly anticipated.
There is some firewood to third. A-Rod throws him out. It is time to talk, brought to you by Charles Schwab, and joining us is the manager of the New York Yankees, Joe Girardi. So how would you assess what you've seen tonight of Andy Pettitte?
Pretty much vintage Andy. You know, he gets double play ball when he needs it. I think he's using all his pitches very well. His curveball's been pretty good. His slider's been good. And, you know, he had the one inning where he got the bases loaded with one out, but he ended up only giving up one, and that's important.
Joe, this is John. I played with the man, but have you seen a more disciplined player? Explain a little bit about Tex and how he goes about his business.
He's very businesslike all the time. You know, he's very routine oriented, and he works extremely hard. Plays through pain. Plays a great defensive first baseman. Is a great hitter in the clutch. I mean, he's done so much for us since he's been here, and we love him.
Jim Thome at the plate. Andy Pettitte has set down 6 in a row. Thome 1 out of 1 after going hitless in the opener. He did reach twice, hit by a pitch and walked, and scored both times.
Well, if you're Minnesota, you don't want to see this rhythm. You don't want to see Andy Pettitte string outs together. You want him out of the windup. You want him moving around, running the bases. He hasn't really had to do anything yet to test the question marks.
This will be his 47th pitch. Another broken bat. This to center. 2 down. Get too close to that field down there, you get splinters. Saw a bunch of them late in the game last night against Rivera. And on back-to-back outs here in the 4th.
Rivera with his 5/4 out save last night.
What you're just thankful for in a situation like that is that it didn't come into play.
Yeah.
Talking about the fly ball to right that Greg Golson caught at the shoe tops, was ruled a hit.
Always going to bring up the topic of replay more and more.
Not that you have any thoughts on that, John.
I do.
Fouled off toward the Twins dugout. Teixeira makes the play. Another easy inning for Andy Pettit. We'll get into that, John. Trust me. Get your team, I guess, prepared for Game 2 after what you called a disappointment, obviously, of Game 1.
Well, you know what? We've been battling all year long.
Sage advice. Jorge Posada hit that ball on the button to right to lead off the 5th. 1 down. It is time to talk. Brought to you by Charles Schwab, and joining us is the Twins manager, Ron Gardenhire. And so, Ron, how do you get your team, I guess, prepared for Game 2 after what you called a disappointment, obviously, of Game 1?
Well, you know what? We've been battling all year long. And, you can't throw too much at us that it's going to knock us down too much. We wanted to win the first game, didn't happen, but these guys have come out. They're into it. Pavano's given us a good opportunity right here, and you know, that's all you can ask for. This is the playoffs, and anything can happen. A lot of adrenaline flowing out there. It's a good time.
The rest of the country is getting their chance to see Danny Valencia. How's your rookie play?
He's played great. You know what? He's come out and played great defense for us. He's hit some big home runs for us. Got a lot of big hits, and you know what? The guys have put him in his place a few times, and he's having some fun.
That's Berkman to the gap in left center field. That ball is well hit, and that ball is gone.
When Lance Berkman places the bat down in the batter's box, you don't want to see that as a pitcher. One of the unique home run visuals that nobody else does. You see right here, he's got so much power, he just places it down. That means you're in trouble. You don't want to see that. Some guys stare. He doesn't sit there and stare. He just places the bat down and trots around the bases. And they're giving his team a 2-1 lead.
That is his 7th career postseason home run. As Gardner grounds to second for the second out. His 7th career postseason home run. 27 runs batted in this his 30th postseason game. That's producing.
Well, he just has so much power to all fields. Great low ball hitter. And this is a big ballpark for a left-handed hitter to easily hit that into the bullpens.
He's country strong. They gave him a little bit of grief, or A-Rod gave him a little grief the other day about being in the weight room. Must be the playoffs. He's like, what's that all about?
Here's Jeter with 2 down, and the Yankees now on top 2-1.
Well, this is not shaping up, but very similar to the game Pavano pitched last season in Game 3 in Minnesota, where 7 innings, gave up a couple of runs, had a 1-0 lead.
In that game, he gave up home runs in the 7th to Posada and A-Rod.
What we said in the in the beginning, location, location, location. He's not going to strike a lot of guys out. You've seen the Yankees hitters being aggressive. He's going to take what they give him. And right now, 2 runs is not going to beat you. You got to see that third base coach from Minnesota start waving guys around here pretty soon. They're going to score some runs.
Jeter just reached out and stayed alive, 0-2.
See Jeter shaking his head there. What happens for every hitter when they go out of the strike zone? They want the confirmation from the umpire. Was that a strike? They'll say, no, that was off the plate. The shake of the head says, yes, confirmed. I knew it was off the plate. Too close to take.
Pitch number 56. Jeter trying to get out of the way and fouled it off. If you're just joining us, Texas put it on Tampa Bay again at the Trop today, 6-0. C.J. Wilson, another solid left-hander in that Texas rotation. Fly ball center field. Drifting over his Span, who makes the play. That'll do it in the 5th. But Lance Berkman unloaded and then gently placed the bat down to start his trot. mid-game recap. Danny Valencia. Ron Gardenhire spoke so glowingly of a sacrifice fly for the only Minnesota run. A-Rod hit a sacrifice fly, and then Lance Berkman left the park there in the 5th for the 2-1 New York lead. So you are up to speed, bottom half of the 5th. 7, 8, and 9 due for the Twins. No balls and 2 strikes. So we teased the folks at home a short time ago when the matter of replay was brought up. You subscribe to a lot of theories, as you've already told Ron. What's your theory on replay?
Well, my theory is eventually we got to get to the point where it only affects a run. In the postseason, you can only replay something that a run will have occurred. And if you think about the course of the game, that shouldn't be too many times, but you can't replay a trap ball unless it ends the game or affects a run. And I think eventually in the playoffs we'll be able to get to something that where the runs are what we're measured by. It's very important that we get that right. It can be quick, it can be buzzed down. And I think it wouldn't take away from the umpires making 99% of the calls right day to day and play by play.
But you look at the play last night, and this comes with 2 outs in the 9th inning. They rule that a base hit. Now, what if Jim Thome comes up and it's a 2-run homer, and the game is tied? See, that play in itself didn't affect a run.
Correct.
Or involve a run. So then, what do you do, Professor?
That would be a big hang with him. But in that case, that would have ended the game, so that could have been reviewable. Ending the game or affecting a run, but anything leading up to it, you really can't. We can't keep throwing flags and having these guys.
If it had happened with 1 out,
if a run didn't score, there's nothing you can do about it.
Wow.
That's how you condense it and you don't slow the game down anymore, because that's going to be a big concern for everybody. And if it affects a run, they're already doing it on home runs, I'm fine with it. But they haven't asked me.
And I think I see why. Danny Valencia at the plate.
I'm a big fan of in the postseason. I would like to see the eye in the sky. There's always plenty of veteran umpires that are here during the postseason. If they're there watching the same monitors that we're watching, once Joe Girardi went out and asked the umpires to get together and take another look at that play, or at least confer about it, then what they can do is if they have an electrical phone or something like that, they can get someone who's up here in the eye in the sky and say, hey boys, that was a catch.
Grounded sharply to A-Rod at third. 2 down.
But
I'm with you. I'm an eye in the sky guy too, because I think if you're worried about getting it right, if it short circuits an argument out there, for sure. Before everybody comes out and argues, somebody's looking at that, and it was obvious last night. Just buzz down, say, you know what? That's a catch. Yeah, that's the game.
Yeah, we got that one wrong. Let's get it right. That's all.
But even in the scenario of the perfect game, you couldn't do that in the 6th inning, but it was the last out. That would be an indication you can make that last play reviewable.
Well, we'd like to see a report tomorrow, John.
I'll draw it up.
J.J. Hardy takes a strike, 0-1. Quickly 2 down here in the 5th. How about Andy Pettit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row set down.
Yeah, and everybody in New York and the organization are all taking more collective sighs of relief, going, aha, I told you this is what we were going to get. There's always a teeter-totter effect to every game in the playoffs and a performance like this where there's question marks. And the more he goes, the more confidence he gets. He's proven it to himself.
That ball's hit to center. Curtis Granderson right there. Another 3 up, 3 down inning. We played 5 at Target Field. by Liberty Mutual. What do you make of the starters tonight, Ron?
Well, both pitchers have been outstanding. They've been very efficient with their pitches. They fielded their position well. Both have started a double play. And the home run by Berkman, really just the difference.
It's a 2-1 game as we go to the 6th. Curtis Granderson takes inside 1-0. Grounded out in the first, doubled in the 4th, and scored the first New York run. Ran it inside again on him. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Pavano had 7 complete games this year, same as Cliff Lee in the American League, and only Roy Halladay had more with 9. Halladay and the Phillies with the day off after the no-no in Game 1. Giants and Braves get their series started in San Francisco later tonight on TBS, and there is Granderson, who is on fire in this series, with another leadoff hit. He started the 4th with that double.
You know, at a point this season, before he made the adjustments with Kevin Long, he was unplayable versus left-handed pitchers. He was getting booed occasionally at home. And since that time, 14 home runs, batting .286 versus lefties.
Pavano keeps him close. Go ahead, Ron.
And he's getting ready to go to second base.
You know, with Pavano, who throws so many changeups to the left-handed hitters, the only problem is you close that hole between first and second, open for Teixeira. Well, last night Teixeira talked about these at-bats. He looks for something up in the strike zone because he doesn't want to hit anything on the ground that can induce a double play.
Granderson swiped 4 bases in the regular season. He leads from first. The pitch outside to Teixeira. Dangerous time for the Minnesota Twins right here in the top half of the 6th inning. They're down 2-1. And you got 2, 3, 4 to start things off for the Yankees.
This is the time of the game. In a regular season game, it wouldn't be that tough for a manager and a pitching coach to maybe make these decisions. Now it's getting tougher. Ron Gardenhire and Rick Anderson got to decide how much longer do we stay? What is he capable of doing? How do we navigate through this game? Because they're that much more important when you're down 1 game in a short series.
Well, Pavano, with his 17 wins, 7 complete games, probably the most consistent starter for the Minnesota Twins. His only Achilles heel, he has allowed 31 stolen bases.
And to your point, John, you're looking at 4 more trips to the plate for the Minnesota Twins in this game, down 1-0, and trying to avoid putting that season on the brink in this 5-gamer. We said before the game began that only 1 team has lost the first 2 at home in a best-of-5 and gone on to win it. It was the Yankees in 2001 against the A's, and the famous Derek Jeter flip in Game 3 to protect that 1-0 win. And Curtis Granderson is all over the mind of Carl Pavano here in the 6th.
John, there's a few things, right, that you can use as a right-handed pitcher to try to control the running game. You can either throw over, you can quick step or slide step to home to try to quicken your time. You can step back and kind of freeze that runner so his feet feel like they're in cement.
But one thing you can't do is get in between and let that pitch to the hitter be affected in an adverse way. So you've got to make a quality pitch. Even if he steals, you got to be committed on the pitch you're throwing. I know we've only been here now growing on 2 days. This is the quietest this stadium has been. They're all anticipating, how do we get through this inning? How do we find a way to erupt and get some get a victory.
There goes Granderson. Fouled back.
And you say to yourself, maybe at home, he had a great jump. Why wouldn't he take that pitch? You have one of the best hitters in the American League in a 2-1 count. You want him swinging the bat.
The count full to Mark Teixeira.
Well, to me, with a guy like Pavano, the 3-2 pitch in, John, is usually followed by a changeup away, which seems to be his best pitch tonight.
Granderson edges away from first and takes off. Fly ball, center field. One down.
That situation, you know the guy's going to run, more than likely 3-2 more, and you're probably not going to throw him out. You got to make the pitch you think is going to get the hitter out. Best case scenario right there, other than a line drive double play. You reset the at bat. Now you got A-Rod up there, and you got to keep focusing on making pitches.
Well, Alex Rodriguez rounded out in the second. Sacrifice fly in the fourth for the first New York run. Let's go back to game 3 of the ALDS a year ago.
Well, this is the big home run by A-Rod. 1-0 lead Carl Pavano was nursing at that time. That 7th inning shot tied the game.
He faces him here in the 6th. Outdoors rather than in. One thing, they couldn't have picked a better time to bring outdoor baseball back to the Twin Cities. There goes Granderson. Grounded in the hole and threw into left. Granderson to third. They're on the corners. Second hit of the series for Rodriguez. And it puts runners at first and third with one out.
This is pretty good speed right here, because even though you're going, it's hard to get to third base when the ball's hit to the left side. Maybe not hit quite as hard, but he never stops and gets to third. A big play there, because now sac fly adds on.
And a great RBI guy at the plate to do it, Robinson Cano. Knocked in 109 runs in the regular season. Ran it inside and missed.
Well, you've got to pay a little bit of attention to Alex Rodriguez. Stole a base in last night's game.
Cano knocked in a run in game 1. Has a chance to do more damage here. Popped him up. Shallow left. Elman Young calls and makes the play. Unable to tag is Granderson. That could be a huge out.
That sure was. A pitch on the outer half. And look at this pitch. What a great pitch. And the best case scenario, again, other than a double play, keeps the run from scoring.
We don't hear very often that a pitcher can inspire his team to score some runs. But if Pavano gets out of this inning without giving up any runs, Gardenhire's squad has got to be inspired.
He told us that last night there was constantly a feeling in that Minnesota Twins dugout that something good was about to happen. They felt totally confident as the night went on, but it was the Yankees who came up with the big hit. Here's Nick Swisher. A-Rod with a bluff at first. Took 3 or 4 little jab steps. Swisher has doubled. Also grounded into an inning double play right at Pavano in the fourth.
And arguably had his finest season in the major leagues. Clutch all season long for the Pinstripes.
Pavano may not be a very emotional guy, but if he gets this out, I'm willing to bet he'll show a little bit of emotion of what a big job this is if he gets out of it.
There was the change.
Well, John, I think the best changeup he has thrown all night. Down the middle of the plate, and late movement.
Two and one.
It's a simple cat and mouse game. He does not want to get him out inside. Every pitch he is throwing inside is to do one thing, to get Swisher out of the way. You saw that sign by Mauer. The thumb and the one means to throw the ball to first base. Just let Alex Rodriguez know that you have an eye on him.
Rodriguez at first, Granderson at third. Firewood to short. Hardy throws it out. Pavano gets out of the jam. Let's see if that gives the Twins some juice here in the sixth. Lead at 2-1. Andy Pettitte allowed hits to 3 of the first 5 Twins he faced in this game. They haven't had a hit since, and he has set down 11 in a row. I'm thinking, John, if you're Joe Girardi, you're saying, call off the dogs. Andy Pettitte's back.
Yeah, and if you're Andy Pettitte, you're trying to prove it to yourself. I mean, it's not like you struggle before the playoffs and you have that resume, or you're real hot before the playoffs. This is a physical question. You know, and he had to answer it with those 3 starts. Statistically, maybe that isn't what you're looking for. He just needs to know, hey, can I do these things that I need to do at the moment that it counts the most? And if you're Minnesota, man, you got to do something now here in this inning, create some kind of magic.
They got Denard Span, their leadoff hitter, at the plate here in the 6th.
But I think Andy got an infusion of confidence in his last start. Even though he gave a few runs, he struck out 8 Red Sox. But I think you're right, John. At some point, to end this Goliath beating up on David, someone is going to have to get a big hit for the Minnesota Twins. We've talked about their bullpen. We've talked about their starting pitching. But it's offense that they need to score more runs.
He's fallen behind Span 3-1. Span had a leadoff single in the 1st, flied out in the 3rd.
I was watching him walk in that batter's box, pretty much giving away. He was taking the whole way, Ron. And
I'm not a fan of that. 3-1 pitch down the middle. Span, accomplished hitter.
To Curtis Granderson in center. And we skip to Atlanta. Matt Weiner. That will be the final division series to start. How do you see that one between San Francisco and Atlanta, John?
We got 5-game series, right? 9 times 5 is 45. They're going to play 72 innings.
That ball is touched off to left. Did Hudson get enough? Yes, he did. And we're tied.
Been the most vocal in this clubhouse as Orlando Hudson. Vocal that they can come up with big hits and score runs. He did it himself there.
Yeah, and Andy just said stupid pitch. Sometimes that happens.
Orlando Hudson's mom. They said the right prayers today.
There's generations of the family sending them up. Mauer grounds to Cano. And now you can hear yourself think for a moment. 2 down.
What it must feel like for Hudson. 2007 with the Diamondbacks, he breaks his thumb. He's not able to play in the postseason. Last season with the Dodgers, replaced by Ronnie Belliard late in the season, did not see a start in the postseason with the Dodgers, and finally here, able to produce.
Here's the cleanup hitter, Delman Young. 1-0. Hudson had said last night after the game, I don't want to hear about it. This is not about some Twins-Yankees curse. This is a new year. He's made it a new game here in the 6th. 2-2.
Well, Andy might have thought that was a stupid pitch. The location was down. He's actually really pitched great tonight. And he's answered a lot of questions, not only to himself, but his manager.
That ball's hit toward the gap in right center field. Granderson on his horse. Cannot make the play. Young is at second. He's going to go for third. The throw. He's safe.
Trying to fire up this crowd is Delman Young. This ball keeps drifting away. Nice try by Curtis Granderson, just off the edge of his glove. And digging is Delman Young. But what A-Rod has to do, stay with the runner Young. As he slid past the bag, he might have been able to get the tag. But nice hustle. Going with 2 outs, you got to make it. He did.
Jim Thome at the plate, the shift on. Derek Jeter playing on the right field side of second base. Alex Rodriguez, the Lone Ranger over there on the left side of the infield.
And if there was ever a time to hit a mistake ground ball to shortstop, here it is. I always got nervous when the shift would go on certain players because you don't want those fluke hits to be right at somebody that's vacated.
Tapped right back to the mound. Hit it. Throws him out. And then pumps his fist in frustration because of this. Orlando Hudson solo homer that has us tied at target. Yes, is presented by BlackBerry. This is game 2 between the Yankees and Twins, and just like game 1, we head to the 7th inning in a tie game. It was 4-4 last night. That's when the Yankees got a 2-run shot from Mark Teixeira, which turned out to be the difference. Here, Orlando Hudson homers in the 6th to tie the game at 2. Carl Pavano works in the 7th, facing Jorge Posada.
Hudson's home run has given the Twins a chance to change a trend. They have not come from behind and won a ball game in their last 21 postseason games.
Ball and a strike. His first two games so similar, with Minnesota scoring first in game one. Yankees come back, take the lead. And then in the sixth, it's the Twins who tie it. Same thing has happened tonight.
But this will be the battle, guys, in the last 5 postseason games between these two clubs. From the 7th inning on, Yankees have outscored the Twins 15-2.
And Minnesota in this series leaving 9 runners in scoring position.
Well, you know, everybody talks about the game being mental. This part of the game for Minnesota has been the most mentally challenging. And they need something really different to happen to change it. You just need one change to say, that's it. And now we can ride this momentum and go on and win 3 more games or 2 more games.
Well, 3-1 fouled off. Take me in the dugout. Take me in the 7th inning of a postseason game. Tied.
The guys that are not involved in the game, it's miserable. There's nothing fun about it. You can't affect the game. You're rooting for your teammates. You want something to cheer for. You want something great to happen. The guys that are in it, you got to get those negative thoughts out of your mind when they start creeping in. Hey, we're all human. They creep in. You know, you start thinking, oh, I got to make a perfect pitch here, or we can't let this happen there.
If you're the manager, Ron Gardenhire, and Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, you have all of your eyeballs on Carl Pavano, making sure that the slightest glitch that might happen, you make sure that you have people ready to take his place.
A leadoff walk to Posada in the 7th.
Outstanding pitch count for Carl, and you see the great strike to ball ratio.
The guys you speak of, Rick Anderson and Ron Gardenhire, pacing the cage here in the 7th. Here's Lance Berkman. Back in the 5th. Appearing in the postseason for the first time in 5 years, he unloaded.
He did. Ball over the middle of the plate. You got to try to get him, obviously, to hit something on the ground because you can get a double play. Not a lot of speed at first and or at the plate, but so they got him for.
John, I like how you pointed out that Lance, when he hits the ball hard, will lay that bat down. He must have been a kid from Little League who used to throw his bat and had a tough manager. Sat him down. Both Gardenhire and Anderson cannot sit down anymore. They are pacing. They are checking out who they want to use if a certain hitter comes up.
Berkman takes a strike, 1-1. Pavano ahead 1-2. Action from the left and right side. Maharis the lefty.
That pitch right there, that last fastball was picture perfect. Let's see if he can get something off speed, even lower than that, to get him either to swing over the top or hit something weak to a ground ball somewhere.
Oh, did Pavano want that? Oh, did Orlando Hudson want that?
Well, he made the pitch.
Did he ever?
Umpire Hunter Wennestat missed that pitch. Fastball inside, starts and comes just back over the plate.
Hudson at second was bouncing up and down and couldn't believe Pavano didn't get that pitch.
He set him up. He delivered the pitch. No reward.
That ball's hit to center. Denard Span on his horse. Runs on a room. That ball is off the wall. Here comes Posada. He's being waved. And the New York Yankees have taken the lead.
if you're a pitcher.
Man, I'm
Made the
shaking
pitch.
my head right now. This pitch is down, and he just ends up hitting it again with such carry. What a frustrating moment for Pavano, who's pitched so well. I said there wasn't much speed, but Jorge put him down there and rounded the bases. You know, as a pitcher, you always want your emotions under check. But when you know you made a pitch, it really is difficult to reset yourself to say, okay, I got to make another one.
And that's why Gardenhire went out instead of Anderson, because at one time he wants to say something to Hunter Wendelstedt. I'm sure he'll give him an earful, and he is.
Gardenhire has been tossed.
His team needed that, Ernie.
This is a situation not unlike that in Tampa Bay today.
It's a great pitch, okay, and he missed it.
In Tampa Bay today, there was a check swing by Michael Young that was ruled no swing. He hit the next pitch out of the ballpark. And here, Lance Berkman, run-scoring double. And the Yankees have reclaimed the lead 3-2.
Well, when things aren't going good, you think everything goes against you. And certainly,
sometimes it does.
It does, but, you know, great teams take advantage of it, and that's what the Yankees do, and that's why they're winning.
Well, that's why we always talk about the pitchers in the postseason who are swing and miss guys who can dominate a lineup. A guy like Carl Pavano's got to be around the plate. Sometimes he only has one pitch to get that hitter out within the sequence of pitches.
Time has been called. Something's been thrown or is on the warning track in the left field.
It's a hat.
It's a hat that they will retrieve. If you're just joining us, man, have we seen one here in Game 2. The ebb and flow between the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees. The Yankees reclaiming the lead 3-2. Lance Berkman with a run-scoring double here in the top half of the 7th. Brett Gardner at the plate, waiting on a 1-0 from Carl Pavano. Lays down the bunt. And with his speed, he'll beat it out as Valencia had trouble picking it up.
Well, that's a mistake by the young rookie third baseman Valencia. When Gardner's going to bunt, you have to make sure you take that play away. He has such great speed that you can't just kind of come in very softly. You got to come in and charge and be ready to take that pitch away, that bunt away. He did not, and trying to rush, misses the play.
It's a bunt single for Gardner. Runners at first and third. And just as quickly as Minnesota had tied this game and had this place up for grabs, the Yankees have taken the lead and are trying to extend it here with the top of the order and Derek Jeter.
Be careful at first. He can take second just as easily.
Be careful on this first pitch.
Jeter takes his strike 0-1. Pavano set to deal his 90th pitch, and it comes in a huge spot. Runners on the corners, and nobody out. There goes Gardner. Fouled back.
Orlando Hudson providing the parachute for the speed there of Brett Gardner.
Well, tough spot for Carl Pavano. Like we said, not a strikeout pitcher. He's got to have a lot of things go right for him to wiggle out of this without any more damage.
what a stop by Joe Mauer on a ball that hit 5 feet in front of the plate.
Just picture perfect. Didn't get all the way down, but that ball was thrown so short you knew you were going to get a high hop. Nice play by Mauer.
1-2 the count. Gardner was caught leaning and got back to first. Boy, he was gone. Jeter looking for his first hit of the night. He's 0 for 3.
Jeter, in his style of hitting, almost takes away half the plate for you when there's a runner on first in that big hole. If you use the outside part of the plate, he will hit the ball to right field. You see these trips back and forth to the mound. You can't help it. It's such an important inning here for not only Mauer.
What are they saying?
Well, right here, they just want to get on the same. They want to make sure that they're. What does Carl want to throw? What do you want to throw in this situation, Carl? I don't want to put down the wrong numbers. Have you waiting out there for the right sign?
Yeah, and I've been kind of anticipating there. They're going to try a pitch out here and see if they can catch the runner going to second. They've got the advantage of a 1-2 count, but to your point, Ron, yeah, they want to be absolutely perfectly in sync on what pitch to throw.
Gardner runs. Fouled away again by Jeter.
Go, Craig Sager.
Craig Sager has fans all over the world. Obviously, heard that one. First and third. Jeter at the plate. 1-run Yankee lead. Reaches out, hits it to right, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Runners at first and second. Another run crosses as Berkman scores, and it's 4-2. Kubel laid out, but clearly a trap.
We talked about it before. You almost eliminate the outside part of the plate when Derek Jeter is up. He will go that other way. Nice try by Kubel. Did not have the speed to get to that baseball.
The captain knocks in the run. And the New York Yankee lead now is 4-2. They stand for Carl Pavano. Biggest names in sports broadcasting, what they think about the hot topics in their sports. Check out Behind the Mic, presented by Allstate, exclusively on SI.com. Let's check in again with Craig Sager.
Well, Carl Pavano has now joined Ron Gardenhire back in the Twins locker room. Obviously, Gardenhire ejected, questioning or arguing a called ball that he thought was a strike to Lance Berkman. He got ejected. Earlier today, Joe Madden of Tampa Bay got ejected in that 6-0 loss against Texas. Those two managers, first time a manager had been ejected in postseason in 5 years. You have to go back to, let's see, that would be Bobby Cox, 2005 with the Atlanta Braves.
To the surprise of no one with that revelation.
Shocking.
I would have never guessed that.
But
I just hope I didn't get him ejected.
That is amazing, though, that on the same day and roughly the same situation, one a check swing that was not called, one a pitch that certainly appeared to be a strike called a ball, and then he makes him pay on the next pitch. And the Twins aren't out of trouble yet. Jose Mijares on for the second game of this series, with Yankees at first and second and nobody out. Two are in.
Somehow they got to get Granderson to pop this bunt up if he is indeed bunting.
He squares and takes, and they throw behind at second.
Best way to get him to pop it up is a high fastball.
Especially now that you have a strike on him.
Gets this one down. They will go to first. And the runners move up to second and third.
Well, not a very good bunt by Granderson, but an anxious moment by the third baseman, Valencia. See how he comes in? He doesn't have to come in there. He can wait by the base, and that bunt was right back to Mijares. He would have had a force play easily at third base. Little nerves on the rookie third baseman.
Well, here's Teixeira, and he will get a free pass.
.45 to Scott Alger, who is now the acting manager. And he's kicking at the bats there because he knows that's a play they could have had the force at third base.
The number one thing a third baseman's got to know there, Ron, is you got to know your pitcher and how much he can, what kind of ground he can cover, and not knowing the play they put on. I'm sure they put on a play the pitcher's got to get to the line and make the play at third.
The problem is Mijares usually doesn't cover too much ground, but it didn't matter. The bunt was right back at him. If he holds his ground, it's a simple play. Mijares looks to the bag. He points to first because he's not occupying the bag, but that would have been a big play for the Twins.
And now Scott Alger makes his way to the mound. Minnesota third base coach pressed into duty here after the ejection of Ron Gardenhire. So Mijares faces one man, and the Twins go back to the pen. series titles. That lead safe. The Yankees with 27. The Cardinals, the only other franchise in double digits with 10. And the chase for number 28 for the Yankees. First step is against Minnesota. They've come in here, took the home field advantage away in game 1. And as they did last night in the 7th inning, broke a tie. They lead it 4-2. Maharis came on and faced Granderson, who laid down the sacrifice bunt and delivered the intentional walk to Teixeira. Now it's John Roush, all 6'11" of him, on in relief for the second straight night. John, what would go through your mind when you came in to a game, bases loaded? You got a guy with the power that Alex Rodriguez has right now.
I'm trying to guess what he's guessing. And I'm hoping that he's guessing he's going to attack the first pitch, because that's going to determine what pitch I throw. I'll throw a changeup or slider if I'm John Roush. You never assume a guy's taken. You got to feed off the emotion, and Alex Rodriguez wants to break this game open, so make the best quality pitch down you can.
Swinging at the first pitch and fouls it away.
And it was a slider, and he got away with it, Ron, because that was over the middle.
It's almost like Alex Rodriguez concentration narrows. When Mark Teixeira has walked in front of him to load the bases, he's 5 for 6 with 3 grand slams.
Nervous time in Minnesota. Loaded with 1 out. Roush jumps ahead 0-2. You see it in stadiums all over the place with 2 out and 2 strikes. Everybody on their feet. Here you got 1 out with the bases loaded. And they are begging John Roush to get a big out here. That would qualify. 2 down.
Well, just a great overhand curveball set up by the fastball in. A-Rod shook his head yes, like, okay, great pitch. This was even better. Words cannot describe when you're coming into this game, Ernie, what your body and mind feel about the situation that could happen if you don't focus on the positive things that will happen.
Robinson Cano has been lethal in this situation in the regular season. 11 for 18 with the bases loaded. Gone deep twice.
Used to have a philosophy when you come in a game like this, it's a privilege to get out of it. Instead of, the bases are loaded. It's a privilege, and this can work in Minnesota's favor. If he gets out of it, what started as a bad break with a call could have some momentum for Minnesota to get out of this without further damage.
No balls and 2 strikes. Bases full of Yankees here in the 7th. 2 are already in.
Really surprised. It's a long inning, Ron, and no one's been warming up for the Yankees. Obviously, Andy's going to go back out there, but a long rest in between. He'll take the 2 runs, don't get me wrong.
Pat foul, pass first.
I don't know about you, but the more I watch Robinson Cano hit as he develops over these years, I don't know if there's a pitch that can get him out. He's so quick inside, stays behind the baseball, power to the opposite field.
Yeah, he just stays. It almost seems like he waits longer than anybody else. And right now, you know, he's set up for a really good curveball in the dirt like he threw to A-Rod. He's thrown some really tough fastballs that he's fouled off. Got to get something to change his eyes down. See if he can throw one in the dirt.
That purpose pitch almost cost him. Just missed hitting Robinson Cano.
One ball, 2 strikes. Popped him up. The biggest man on the field just got 2 huge outs. Time to stretch your target. On TBS. Guys, Andy Pettit sat for a long time. That was a 27-minute half inning when the Yankees were at bat, but he's out here for the bottom half of the 7th.
It's going to be a nice challenge for him. You like I said, you'll take the runs, but that's a long time to keep that adrenaline under wraps.
Throws a strike to Michael Kadire, who is 0 for 2.
Just got to say, there's been a lot of big moments. The game has been well played. It's almost like lipping out a bunch of putts for Minnesota. You're just so close. You want to feel like you could get back into it with some hits and some good moments.
I told you, Ron, once you start with the golf analogies,
I know, I'm sorry.
the hits just keep on coming.
I won't do it again.
I'd rather miss the putt by about a full 6 inches. I'm tired of living them out.
Well, there you go. After your 27-minute break, strikes out Kadire.
On 3 pitches. Slider in, backdoor slider, change up down.
Third strikeout of the night for Pettit, who has walked only 1. And here's Jason Kubel.
Be interesting to see how he feels. You know, he's pitched so many postseason games where he ranks this type game with so many concerns and question marks. This has got to rank up there for him, and one of those mentally tough. I'm going to be in the moment, and I'm going to put aside everything else that's going on. I'm sure he's got to have some self-gratification of going through this game.
How much of a factor do you think it is in his comfort zone? Did he have some cushion after they won Game 1 going into this one? As he coaxes a harmless pop-up to Alex Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You win Game 1 last night. People were saying, boy, if you drop that opener, then you got the uncertainty of Andy Pettit in Game 2. Look out.
I've been watching Andy Pettit pitch too long. There's no comfort word in his vocabulary. He pitches the same way, whether it's a May 15th game or an October 15th game, and I think that's why he does so well in the postseason.
So here's Danny Valencia with 2 out here in the 7th.
But it's interesting. We heard stuff like, we're the underdog. You know why? Because they didn't know what they were going to get out of Andy or the 3rd or 4th starter. This not only helps them for this series, it starts prolonging, going, oh, okay, we got 2 now. Let's see what the 3rd guy does. And all of a sudden you start thinking about, hey, they can repeat. It's amazing the storylines that change this time of the year so quickly.
They're an underdog with their first pitcher who won 21 games. This man has won 18 postseason games. An 18-game winner, Philip Hughes, goes on Saturday.
At home in Game 3. Valencia waved at that. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is what Dave Island and Joe Girardi were longing to see.
Like I said, very impressed. More impressed now that he sat for 27 minutes and came out and just has been as sharp. Done a nice job commanding the plate and the zone.
He has thrown 86 pitches now.
Well, this part of the game with a 2-run lead, 3-2 count on Valencia, big ballpark. There's got to be something away. Try to keep it down.
Struck him out. Looking. Pettit ends the 7th in style. Yankees lead it by 2 as we head to the 8th. summary. Yankees with that 4-2 lead. Andy Pettitte, sensational in this start in Game 2. Lance Berkman, DHing tonight, delivering a couple of RBIs, including a home run. And as we go to the 8th, it's a 2-run game.
Guerrier coming in for Minnesota. Good slider, big curveball. Both him and Crane are used in similar situations for Gardenhire.
He's in front of Swisher, 0-2.
Well, used very often, these right-handers, Crane and Matt Guerrier, both over 70 appearances for the Twins.
The 0-2 is tapped up toward third. Valencia gloves and throws him out. Now here's Jorge Posada, who began the Yankees' 7th inning rally with a leadoff walk. Scored on Lance Berkman's double. Posada 0 for 2, reaching on that walk I mentioned in the 7th, hitting here in the 8th. Ball and a strike. Named the 12th Yankee to reach the 1,000 RBI mark earlier this season. 39 years old. That's it to left. Delman Young back, edge of the track, 2 down. This was earlier when Andy Pettitte had completed his work in the 7th. The Game 1 winner, CC Sabathia. There's some words for the guy who has really impressed here in Game 2.
I think you're right, John. That has to be about as satisfying as any one of his 41 postseason starts.
There's no doubt. I mean, you go through it and you tell yourself this is where you want to be, but boy, he cleared every doubt for himself, let alone for everyone else, and on his way to his 19th if they can hold on. Postseason victory.
Here is Lance Berkman, who has been a real pain in the Twins' backside in this game. Homered in the 5th, run-scoring double in the 7th.
It's this 8th hole that has cost the Twins in both of these games. Last night, Granderson with the 2 RBIs and Berkman with 2 tonight. It's supposed to get easier when you go down in the order, John.
Gosh, you know how happy I would be to face him in the 8th hole? And that's not a good thing. He's normally up there in the lineup in the 3rd or 4th, you know, being the most productive player that he has been. So just an added bonus for Joe Girardi in being able to flip-flop his lineup like that.
Now has 28 career postseason runs batted in this his 30th postseason game. Mick Kelleher made the play over there at first. Here's the long ball. And then 2 innings later, let's go out that way again. Chase Posada home from first.
Not many hitters can hit a ball to shoot top for a double.
Guerrier strikes him out. 1, 2, 3, 8. Freshman, the rush is on. Don't miss the series premiere of Glory Days, November 16th at 10, 9 Central only on TBS. Similarities between last night and this night are obvious, with the Yankees scoring 2 to break a tie in the 7th. Last night, Kerry Wood came on in the 8th. Needed help from Rivera to get the final out of that inning. He allowed a hit, struck out a batter, walked a batter, and he's on here facing J.J. Hardy, the number 9 hitter in the Minnesota lineup.
Well, this is an appearance you can look at, though. Wood struggled yesterday. As they move forward in each game they play, the better Wood is in this role in the 8th inning, the less you'll have to use Rivera more than an inning.
Well, I know it says the 8th inning, but I got to believe everybody in the Minnesota dugout's approaching this like it's the 9th inning. Got to find a way to score 2 runs to eliminate any thought of Rivera coming in and doing what he did yesterday. Pretty impressive.
Which was shattering any bat in sight. Look at that breaking ball, and Hardy knew it.
When he throws it right, John, it's unhittable.
It is. This starts at the top of his shoulder almost. At least that's what the hitter looks at. And it's breaking a good 5 to 8 inches straight down, and that's the unhittable curveball when his release point is good. Tip your hat if you're the hitter.
Top of the order now, Denard Span. Rodriguez in at third to protect against the bunt. Takes a strike. 3 of the last 4 Yankee hitters have struck out. Andy Pettitte works 7 strong. Left with a 4-2 lead. Wood jumps ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. Span 1 out of 3, singled his first time. Was erased in a double play. Right back to Wood. Two up, 2 down for Kerry Wood in the bottom of the 8th. John, you know that quiet feeling you were getting a couple innings ago? It's back.
Yeah, unfortunately it is back. You see some fans turning their hats upside down, trying whatever they can, turning it inside out.
Here's Orlando Hudson. Homered in the 6th. That tied the game. And then the Yankees untied it right away in the 7th.
If you're Orlando Hudson, you got to get on any way you can. Got to give your best hitter one swing at tying the game.
That is Joe Mauer on deck. As Hudson bats with 2 down here in the 8th. And Kerry Wood has gotten ahead. No struggles in this 8th inning for Kerry Wood. 1, 2, 3. We go to the 9th in Minnesota. one between the Braves and Giants, a matchup of two teams who make a return to the postseason as Derek Lowe faces Tim Lincecum in the opener. It's coming your way next on TBS. Another triple header of MLB postseason action today.
Well, John, everyone knows Lincecum, but Derek Lowe had a sore arm late in the season, got a cortisone shot, and then started striking out the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, he took his ERA almost a full run down. He went to the next level, which really helped them get to the position they're in.
Matt Capps, the new Minnesota reliever. And he faces Brett Gardner to lead off the ninth. Gardner 1 out of 3, had a bunt single in the 7th. Two balls and 2 strikes. Capps came over on July 29th in a trade with the Washington Nationals. He was a winning pitcher in the All-Star game won by the National League, which gives the NL home field advantage. That ball is hit off the glove of Orlando Hudson. Leadoff single here in the 9th. You're just joining us back in the 7th inning. Big at bat by Lance Berkman in a game that stood 2-2.
Well, it's going to be talked about after the game. They're going to ask him about it. You see the pitch sequence going. Everything's away. He gets the benefit of a call out here outside the zone, stays away, gets 2 strikes on him, then makes a perfect pitch, or what he thinks is a perfect pitch. He has to resettle himself. The double happens, and then basically the manager comes out trying to defend the situation, diffuse the situation, and let the umpire know he wasn't fond of that call and got ejected.
And Ron Gardenhire got the gate in the 7th. Gardner with the lead at first, and here is Derek Jeter. He's knocked in a run tonight. That came in that 2-run 7th. He's 1 out of 4 on the night. 2 out of 9 in the series. But that hit in the 7th was a big one. Tough at bat. Fought one off into right field to knock in a run.
Well, Carl had made a rare mistake when he walked Posada to lead off that inning, his only walk of the night, but made beautiful pitches to Berkman, who had hit a home run the at-bat before. But you know, in these games, you're asking the managers to be perfect. They're not. You're asking the players not to make mistakes. They do. And you're asking umpires to make the call they're supposed to make, and it's not going to always happen.
There is Hunter Wendelstedt behind the plate. Where's that number 21? In honor of his legendary father, Harry. Longtime umpire as Jeter taps up toward third. Valencia got him by a half a step. Gardner moves over to second.
Sometimes you can get a break by not hitting the ball hard. Just down that third base line. Nice play by Valencia to get the out at first base, but it serves almost like a sacrifice bunt to move another run into scoring position.
Yankees already lead it by 2. Looking for insurance, as if that insurance policy that wears number 42 isn't enough. He's warming up in the pen right now. Curtis Granderson's been right in the middle of things again tonight. Last night it was out of the number 8 hole in the Yankee lineup. Tonight hitting second. Doubled and scored in the 4th. Singled in the 6th.
We talked about it last night, Ron. Every umpire's got a sweet spot of a zone where they'll give you a little bit more, and his happens to be on the other side of the plate from a left-hander, because anything in has been more towards the ball category.
Gardner is on the move to third and steals it with ease.
One of the fastest guys in baseball. Nice break. Takes that secondary lead and just really outruns the baseball. You see Danny Valencia tries to put that foot in front of the bag to try to get Gardner not able to have access to it, but he slides to the outside part of the bag and safe easily.
Well, Granderson's got some room because the infield's in. If he finds a hole, also a fly ball gets it done with the speed of Gardner at third. And don't forget about the wild pitch pass ball situation here with that limestone backstop that the ball will rocket off of. Anderson is due a payoff pitch in a 2-run game with a runner at third.
Granderson has gotten a couple of pitches to hit here. Looks like Capps wants to dot that inside corner. Ball keeps drifting back out over the plate.
He's had good rips at those last two. And we're due another 3-2 pitch. To center, a blooper. It's going to fall. And there is the 5th New York run. Granderson's 3rd hit of the night.
Well, and with runners in scoring position, the Yankees have just been better in this series so far. 7 for 21. With this base hit by Granderson, dumped it into center field, and after the stolen base by Gardner, he scores easily with the 5th run. Capps knows that's a huge run. Add-on runs, offense calls them.
Well, here's Teixeira. The New York lead now 3. Matt Capps wants another baseball. Capps is 6'2", 245. They were profiling him in one of the papers locally before this series began, and revealed that if he could change anything about his life, he'd be a little skinnier. He says, I do look bigger on TV than I really am. We got Teixeira to wave at that. All on a strike.
He had a rough beginning to this series. Spent most of the time in the hospital, really sick, and the workout day, and obviously had time to recover and throwing the ball well, but not the start you want to a best-of-5 series. Spending the time there.
Granderson with a bluff at first as Teixeira lifts it to left. That ball is deep, and Young makes the play. Granderson's going to have to hustle back to first and gets there. And that ball carried to the wall and left.
I think Delman lost track of where he was. He had a little more room, but probably surprised playing here all summer long and the ball not carrying here in the October sun. or October warmth here in Minnesota. The ball's carrying it here at Target Field.
So now 2 down with 1 in. Granderson at first for Alex Rodriguez. He's got a sacrifice fly tonight. Singled in the 6th. Also struck out and grounded out. The Yankees leading by 3 and 3 outs away from a 2-0 series in the other guy's ballpark.
He's doing a nice job, really holding as long as you can before the umpire calls time, to just mess enough with the timing of Granderson, because you know he wants to try to get second with A-Rod up there and add one more.
Alternating throws, holding ball a long time, slide stepping quick. Could be a chance for a pitch out here. Difficult to pitch out against A-Rod, though, because you put the count in his favor.
One and two.
You could almost pitch out now.
Granderson on the move. Fly ball right. Tubal makes the play. Curtis Granderson delivers some insurance for the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the ninth. been presented by BlackBerry. We're heading to the bottom of the ninth inning here at Target Field in Minnesota. The home team needs 3 to tie. It's a 5-2 game. The New York Yankees 3 outs away from claiming a 2-0 series lead before heading home to New York. And we've already told you, only one team has ever lost those first 2 games at home in a 5-game series and still won the series, and that was the Yankees of 2001. Well, Mariano Rivera is on after collecting his 40th career postseason save 24 hours ago.
And if that's not enough, he's got a 14 2/3 scoreless inning streak in the postseason against the Twins.
And he faces Joe Mauer with nobody on base.
Rivera, in his career with a 3-run lead, 12 for 12 save opportunities.
The 0-2. Rivera came on last night, close out the 8th inning, and then retire the side in the 9th to get the save. And along the way was a controversial sinking line drive that was caught but was ruled a hit. We then got the final out. Jim Thome on a pop up the 3rd.
Seems easy, right, John?
It's easy.
Just back off the plate a little bit so that ball is a little more centered.
Oh, that part. Oh, no, I was talking Mariano. It's easy. He's making everything look easy.
He does.
In our little speech, we'd say, you've been called up to a higher league.
That's right.
You need to move on.
Now we're trying to get on track in this series. He's 1 for 8. Struck out 3 times. And there is a leadoff single to left for Joe Mauer. Let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, last night, Mariano Rivera frustrated the Minnesota hitters. He sawed off 5 bats alone in the 9th inning. This is the one that the Nards fan broke in the 8th inning. I asked Chuck Schupp from Louisville Slugger how he's able to do it. He says his ball has so much movement that they cannot get the feet of the bat, the sweet spot on the ball. It either goes towards the top of the batter or the bottom of the bat. The area is not designed to hit a baseball. He does it better than anybody.
Here's Delman Young swinging at the first pitch, 0-1. Young singled and scored in the 2nd. Tripled in the 6th. Pitching coach Dave Island. Hitters count for Delman Young, 2-1 against Rivera with a runner at first. Twins needing base runners here in the 9th. They trail by 3. Too short. 6, 4, 3. And the Yankees are 1 out away from taking a 2-0 lead.
Well, give Delman Young credit. He hit a bullet to Jeter at shortstop. Once the play is made by Derek, easy double play.
Well, here's Jim Thome, who was the last hitter last night. And in a game full of similarities between Game 2 and Game 1, he's trying to keep Minnesota's hopes alive.
But this is how Rivera rolls. 2 good at-bats, 2 outs.
Ball and a strike.
The other thing we do as a player is probably send him a memo from the commissioner's office fining him for making a mockery of the league.
A leadoff single erased in a double play. Thome to shallow left. Brett Gardner right there. And the New York Yankees have taken a 2-0 lead over the Minnesota Twins.
Well, the Yankees won the battle again from the 7th inning on. They have now outscored the Minnesota Twins in the last 5 postseason games, 18-2. When you win that battle, you're always going to win it. And in a year with Trevor Hoffman got his 600 save, including the postseason, that's a 600 save in Mariano Rivera's career.
They celebrate on the New York side. Meantime, they file out here at Target Field, wondering if they will see their heroes again. It'll take 2 Minnesota wins at Yankee Stadium to get that done.
Well, the psychology of Minnesota and the manager now is, you convince your team. You've won 3 in a row before. Obviously, you got to get the cliches out of the way. You got to take one at a time. But this is the position you're in. You've been in every game. You know you're as good as that team for most of the game. You just got to find a way to get over the hump for 9 innings.
Well, the 800-pound gorilla that no one will talk about is that everyone says that the Yankees are not in the Twins' heads. At some point, they have to be.
Let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, the defining moment of this game came in the 7th inning. Lance Berkman at the plate, a man on first base, a pitch that the Twins thought was a strike. You took. Short time later, you drove the go-ahead run in. From your perspective in the batter's box, what did you see on those 2 pitches?
Well, I mean, I felt like that ball was a tough pitch. It was a real competitive pitch. I felt like it was off the plate. I mean, I thought it was in. I know that Hunter was given a little bit off the outside corner. I mean, we had several strikes called out there that were probably off the plate, but he wasn't given much in, and he was consistent with that all night. And after that, my whole purpose of that at bat was to try to stay out of the double play. Just wanted to really see the ball, and I knew he was going to try to throw something down, maybe moving down and away, and happened to stay on that one and caught it on the good part of the bat.
Your previous at bat, you homered. The 7th time in postseason play, you hit a home run. You were traded to the Yankees on July 31st. What did it mean to join this club and the fact that you're back in the postseason?
Well, it's great. I mean, that's why I decided to come over here. It was the opportunity to play in games like this and to be back and have a chance to win a World Series. And, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. This is a great month of the year. October baseball is as good as it gets. So I'm glad to have been able to contribute tonight, and, hopefully we'll just keep it rolling.
You had previous postseason experience with Houston, where your teammate was Andy Pettitte, who, of course, got the win here tonight. How would you describe his performance tonight when there's so many question marks about him being on the disabled list and struggling as he headed into the postseason?
Well, that's just typical Andy. I mean, he was in control pretty much the whole night. He's the best big game pitcher I think I've ever been around. He's just tremendous. And I knew that if he was physically healthy, with his groin and his back, that he was going to be great, and he is, and he was.
So were you tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back up to you, EJ.
The New York Yankees winners tonight in Game 2. Behind Berkman and behind that guy, Andy Pettitte. Meantime, for the Minnesota Twins, that's 10 straight losses at home, tying the Major League record of the Phillies from 1915 to 1978. Our final score tonight, the New York Yankees winners, 5-2. For Ron Darling, John Smoltz, Craig Sager, the rest of the crew, Ernie Johnson saying goodnight from Minneapolis. TBS, your exclusive home for the entire Division Series and the ALCS. After the break, we'll send you to Matt Weiner in our Atlanta studio.